Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're going to talk about three main things in this video. We're going to keep it short, straight to the point. Hopefully, we'll see how long this video is. Number one, the arbitrage trade that is going wrong between AMC and Ape and how that in and of itself will and has been contributing to the bullishness as of lately in AMC, but more so how it will continue to add bullishness to AMC. Number two, the technicals, where we currently sit heading into earnings, because we did not elaborate on that enough in the last video. It was already almost 20 minutes long, and I didn't want to give you guys another, 5 to 10 minutes of technical spiel. It was already a long video, and we already covered a lot. So we're going to get into that here in this video. And number three, a question that has been asked a lot as of recently, how the shorts are actually hiding their short interest. In my personal opinion, it's important to point that out because I do not have the order flow. I don't know when these orders are going through. All I know is the option activity has been very, very negative. On days where AMC has been overwhelmingly bullish, you're seeing these very large negative institutional orders coming through on the put side, whereas the short interest has gradually been going up at the same time. So we'll talk about that. That has been a highly requested question to be answered in a video. So let's get into all of that information. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And as you guys do know, if you want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description of this video. Number one, the arbitrage trade gone wrong. Now, if you just Google search AMC arbitrage trade, we talked about this more so, a couple of weeks ago when this actually started to be talked about within institutional investors. Now, essentially what this is, just to kind of summarize it, long story short, kind of for you guys. So essentially, AMC and Ape, they have the same voting power, right? Essentially the same exact thing. Now, AMC, what they're trying to do on March 14th is to take the Ape shares, turn them into AMC shares. So the theory here from institutional investors and what they have been doing is buying Ape and shorting AMC, because all these institutional investors believe that if this happens, that means AMC will come down to somewhat match the price of Ape, right? So in other words, if Ape, I'm not sure the exact cent it's trading at, let's call it, if Ape is trading at $2 per share, AMC is at $5 per share, well, they're gonna buy Ape and hope that stays just neutral or goes up a little bit, and they have been shorting AMC because they think in theory that would cause AMC to go down to $3 per share or $2.50. So you'd make money on your Ape, you would make money on a short position on AMC. It would be basically a home run grand slam trade across the board. And that's literally what they were saying. Like Bloomberg right here 3 weeks ago, AMC's meme stock antics opened the door for home run trade. And they're talking about this arbitrage trade, which is no longer the case. And this is one reason why I think AMC has been so bullish, because now you are starting to get lawsuits against AMC about this conversion. You have now a pension fund in which we've reported on multiple times here, so I'm not going to get into that all too much. I'll summarize it for you guys. But a pension fund is suing AMC to dissolve this whole agreement, to not do this. And that in and of itself, that day that news came out, AMC rallied 17%, because if you were expecting this home run arbitrage trade and now it's not even going to happen, well, maybe you should get out of your short position in AMC, or at the very least, hedge that out a little bit. Now, I think by and large, that has not happened. I think if this vote does get announced potentially this Tuesday on AMC earnings, that, hey, the vote's not going to go through anymore. Enough retail investors did not want it to happen. I think AMC easily could rally that 50 to 100% like I put out in the last video in this next upcoming week. So that arbitrage trade starting to work against these hedge funds As of recently, AMC has obviously been rising, and that is because maybe this vote does not ultimately happen, and that would send AMC share price up quite a bit because it's pretty much already been priced into the stock that this was going to go through for weeks now, and that's why you did see a lot of institutional investors taking on this arbitrage trade. Second thing that I want to talk about is how the shorts hide short interest. And this has been something that has been talked about a lot. So essentially, these hedge funds, they have to report their positioning to the reporting bodies, right? The DTCC, FINRA, the SEC, they all look at these kind of things. They look at what's being reported. They, quote unquote, try to, combat the manipulation. I put that in quote unquotes because, do they really? If I'm talking about this, it should be investigated more. Now, essentially how shorts hide short interest is if a hedge fund goes out and shorts, call it 100 shares of AMC, just for simple math here, goes out, shorts 100 shares of AMC. Well, they could go to the option chain. Usually this will happen at the same time. So as soon as they short 100 shares, they can go out and they can buy puts that are in the money, and they can report and say, hey, we don't have a short position. Like, you don't even have to report that or disclose that anymore. It's simply going to come up as puts on the option chain, because remember, they really don't have to report their short positions. It takes a pretty ballsy institution or hedge fund to report their short positions, especially on AMC. They usually don't. That's why you don't get a lot of short positions being reported. That's why it's hard to tell who is short on AMC at any given moment in time. So when they go out, they short 100 shares, they buy a put, it makes it look like there's a lot of put activity, and it's not reflected in the actual short interest. And that's important to point out, because you're going to have all of these short positions tied to a bunch of puts that you're not going to see in the Ortex data. And even based off of what we are getting for March 17th, you have 930,000 puts out of the money. When have you ever seen that? 275,000 puts in the money. When have you ever seen that? You really don't, right? So a lot of this short interest is being hidden in the option chain, in my personal opinion, especially those, call it $2 puts, $4 puts, $5 puts. A lot of people aren't buying those puts that are deep in the money that cost hundreds of dollars. But hedge funds, yeah, they most certainly are. And what led me to believe this, or even look into this theory of them hiding the short interest, keep in mind, this is only a theory. This is what makes sense to me. I don't know if this is 100% happening, but it's the most logical conclusion to all of this that I can come to. But the thing that really started to stick out to me is days when you see AMC up massively or well outperforming the markets, even what you've seen on Friday, and really all of last week, AMC outperformed the markets, is you'll see the interesting flow sentiment. These are literally what it says, interesting flows from institutions, hedge funds with option activity that are ultra negative. Even when AMC was going down in 2022, you would see a greater positive order value than what you are currently seeing. Like when AMC was just up 17%, what was it, a couple days ago, about a week ago, when this lawsuit was actually announced from the pension funds against AMC for this whole, March 14th vote thing, right? Hopefully this makes some sense to you guys. AMC went up 17%, but the positive order value was like 2%, meaning that for every $100 that goes into AMC options from these institutions, like $2 of that $100 was bullish, $98 was bearish. Even on Friday, you've seen 145 orders totaling almost $41 million, positive order value of 9%. You can't look at any other stock that goes up 5, 10, 15% in a day that has positive order value this negative. Even stocks that are down on the day will have positive order value that is much more positive than what you see with AMC. So overall, very negative option activity on really big green days and really good days for the stock. That does not make sense. Couple that with the short interest where it is, 23.5% short interest, nothing to sneeze at. They obviously don't want it to look like it's 35 or 40%. That's a given. That's an obvious. You mix all these different things together that we've talked about, and I think it's logical to come to this conclusion that the are that we're getting from Ortex. So hopefully that did provide some clarity to this situation. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is technicals, and you can kind of wrap all of this together to make the bullish case for AMC. Now, we've talked about this in almost every single video now. This downtrending line, this has been showing AMC has been in a negative bearish downtrend, whereas as of recently, it's broken above that. And what is so interesting to me is when you have gotten to these peaks in the past, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, and even in early February right here, you were rallying. Like, this was the peaks of rallies every single time. Whereas right now, you're kind of gradually going higher from here. You're not hitting the peak of a rally and hitting this resistance level. You've actually slowly and steadily grinded through this level. Now you're holding up above it, but you're not actively rallying. Long story short is you're not getting the same resistance here, right? It's not resistance. You broke out above that the day the lawsuit was announced against AMC for the conversion, when AMC went up 16.5% on February 21st. So it's not like you're at the end stage of rallies like you've seen throughout 2022. You haven't even seen a rally yet. So when that rally does come, I think it could be much more explosive than some of the rallies that we have seen in the past, especially you couple that with good earnings, you couple that with the March 14th vote not going through, and I think very well you could be setting up for a MOAS-like situation. You factor in the cost of bar rates where they are, you factor in the short interest the way it is, and the fact that I think there's a lot more short interest that is actually not being exposed and brought to us from Ortex, I think it's pretty easy to see how the next couple of weeks could be huge for AMC. Now, if you take a look at the RSI, that is at 58.19, sitting pretty neutral overall. Neutral is 50, 70 is overbought, 30 is oversold. So you're definitely not on the oversold side. Obviously, you've been trending upwards for the last week and a half now, but you're definitely not to the point of overbought as well. And I think you could have well further to go before that would happen. Same thing with the MACD. That is pointing that out much better in my personal opinion. If you look at the rallies we have seen since the June rally, obviously the MACD was super bullish right here, hit the most bullish that it can actually get during the June rally. But look at these other rallies, like baby hills, right? Baby hill, baby hill, baby hill. I mean, you haven't even seen the start of that. Now, if you also take a look at the most important moving averages, number one, AMC holding above its 5-day moving average. That's more important on a day-to-day kind of trading basis. Overall, a bullish thing. AMC well above its 50-day moving average. AMC, look at this. Picture perfectly finding support intraday the last 3 days at the 100-day moving averages and hitting that and bouncing back higher towards the close of the day. Very bullish activity we are seeing around this 100-day moving average. Next stop is going to be the 200-day moving average at $7.52 per share. And you know what happens if AMC gets to that and breaks out above the 200-day moving average? Well, if it can hold it, it means potentially a lot more upside from there. So that is going to be all for this video. Hopefully you guys have a better understanding of how the short interest could be a lot higher, how the hedge funds might be hiding some of their short interest. That is a theory of mine. That is not a well-known fact. That's the best running theory I can come up with on why you are seeing so low positive order value on days that are so bullish for AMC. If you look at any other stock, in which I look at hundreds of stocks on a weekly basis, you're not seeing that in any of those. So I think that is also important to point out. And I do think this could set us up for a massive next couple of weeks. So that is going to be it for this video. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Most importantly, you guys enjoy the rest of your day and your weekends, and I will see you in the next one.